Good afternoon, everybody. How are you? It's really an honor to be here with you guys today, ladies as well. Thank you for coming and hanging out with me. We've got a pretty amazing afternoon planned, part of a two-part series that I'm hopeful you can come back for next week and join me for the conclusion of. Um, I have gratitude for all of you, existing customers, new customers, new and old alike. Thank you for coming. Fred, I think you're here. Fred, you've been talking to my good friend David, and so I'm here today to answer any questions you have. Fred, feel free to ask about anything that will help you make a decision one way or the other. Or if you want, don't say anything. You won't get much out of the event, but it is your right, and I respect that right. Let's go ahead and close out that camera of that good-looking guy. Yunez, thank you. Jan, good to see you. Luke, thank you as well for your greetings. It's a pleasure and a privilege to have you here as well. Thank you to Jacob. Many of you have gotten great results following along with his suggestions each week, and it's been great working alongside of him, with him, along with you during these demonstration webinars. You'll be seeing more of him in the very short term. Hey, Thomas, I did have something, though, I wanted to share with everybody and get out to the community and just sort of build on the things that Jacob's doing. Just if he hasn't shared with you, congratulations for passing your latest combine over with Apex Investing. It really is an accomplishment, and we're all very proud of what Jacob's been able to accomplish as a customer. I want to talk a little bit about something that's really sort of in my face the last week or so. I don't know what I clicked on, and I don't know why they think I am the person that should get these, but it seems like lately there has been a massive dump of ads on Facebook with everyone in the world promising this, that, or the other thing with regards to trading. Does anyone else get these types of ads on their social media feed at all? Some guy at a beach with a laptop, and this is my friend Bill. He made $50,000 in the last 2 weeks. He had a $1,000 account. I'll show you his secrets. And I find that I've been posting. I've been posting in the comment section and asking very direct questions, only to have my comments deleted, or people responding to my comments saying, you know, I was thinking the same thing. And I want to talk to you, if you're someone like Fred here today, I want to talk to you a little bit about the burden of proof that I have. The burden of proof that I have as an engineer. I'm put here on this earth to build things. And the things that I build, I use, and I build for other people. That is my purpose in this life, maybe the next. Not sure how that whole ecosystem works. But most often people ask the question, why are you doing this? And I have no hesitation when I answer, because I know what I've built in the past, both with my hands and with my mind. I build things that make my life and other people's lives easier. But when it comes to trading, the burden of proof, that bar that we have to cross over, is tremendously high. And About 15 years ago, my partner and I discovered something that explained why most people, including ourselves, explained why we were failing. And so I just want to let you know as we get started what the ground rules for my proof will be based on. Some of you have seen this proof over and over again. Fred, you've seen it multiple times now. Chris, you've been here multiple times. Most of you here, though, have come and seen and purchased this for yourself, and you're using it for yourself. Stanley, Mark, Joe, Bharat, Alpha, existing customers coming back, expressing their support. We give out the times for the most popular futures, forex, and crypto markets in advance. Every week, every Tuesday, the times are published for Wednesday and Thursday, and we'll go over that. I tell you what basic trading system we're going to apply to those times and directions later. And today's a great example of what can happen when you do that. And then at the end of that portion of our webinar here in about 15 minutes, I'm going to ask each of you, did this work or did it not work? We'll take a look at that. Then we'll take a look at a test that shows not only did the signals work this week, but what's their track record over the last 6 months, over the last year? What's the track record we have with customers who are free to post whatever reviews they want on a review site that validates people's purchases? And I'll tell you how we spend $5,000 a year to be part of a company called Trustpilot that will actually validate the reviews to make sure no false reviews are being posted and prevent us from removing any reviews. And so all of these things require Herculean efforts of proof. So starting with that first question, why do you do it? I do it because I build things. I'm a trained mechanical engineer with the University of Stony Brook in Long Island, New York. I spent the first 15 years of my life as an automation engineer building equipment in the sewn products industry. If you've ever seen a shirt with a label or a mattress, our equipment made something that sewed something on that thing together. And the machines I built for people, designed and trained others to use, increase their income anywhere from 25 to 50% or more, because they could do more work faster with less thought. Our theory when it comes to trading is based on a single belief that banks who never lose money in the biggest tragedies of society, whether it's the recession of 2008 or the Great Depression that's forming around us now, it seems like banks are always winning. And it seems like there's an alternate set of rules for institutions where everyone cheats and no one goes to jail. And so as an engineer, 15 years and 3,000 customers ago, we discovered that if we tracked the times that banks made big moves inside of a messy, unorganized, chaotic data feed, those times, many times in the future, would repeat, and moves would occur at those times in the future. And so when you look at something complicated and chaotic, if you apply the right tool to it, you discover that there's information there, valuable information. So what we do every week is unique. If you believe the markets are rigged, if you believe the banks are somehow getting away with murder, forget the things with Hillary and her emails and Biden with a laptop or Trump with classified documents. None of those people ever seem to get caught. It's even bigger than that. It's a problem for us when we go back and we study the yearly profits of companies like JP Morgan, the largest institutional financier in the world. And after doing a study with publicly available data, we discover for every $3 that they earn in profits, they pay $1 in fines for violations. That is the reality of the world. And tomorrow, when you sit down to trade live, you are pitting yourself, your rules following, law abiding self, against someone who, when they're caught, never admits they did something wrong. No admission of guilt, and no one goes to jail. That's who you're trading against. Did you know that? They can spoof, which means make orders appear on the dome that aren't really there. They run the stops on the bottom, they run the stops at the top. How many of you saw the stops get run today? Raise your hands. All of you, raise your hands. They did it. No one questions it. So what we do is different. What we do is different based on a story that I can tell you. One of the first people that I met when I started learning how to trade was a couple in Texas. And the lady's name was Paula. And Paula would sit on her side of a giant sheet of plywood that her husband had put in their living room. And she had access to her trading computer. And Jerry, her husband, who sold his contracting business, built himself a desk on the other side of the plywood. And each of them had a $20,000 account from the proceeds of the sale of the business of the husband. And Mark, they theorized that if they worked together and they studied and they went to different webinars, that the two of them would be able to generate profits over time and make money. She quit her job as a special ed teacher. He sold his business as a contractor. These were smart people, and they were kind, and they were intelligent, and they were my friends. And I don't have to tell you, because you've already experienced this, their account went like this. And Jerry, at the end of it all, her husband had $250 left in his account. She went back to school. He had no job to go back to. And he said to me, Mike, I can take my money and make $200 a day. I'm not out yet. I can do this. He lost 98% of his profits. And he essentially said he could double his money every day. And he was going to get out of the hole. I was also witness to a situation where a man went to the congregants of his church and he said, if you each give me money, I will pay you 3 to 5% per month trading from the account. I've learned how to trade, and God has blessed me, and I will find ways to bless you too. Pay me 3 to 5%. I will pay you 3 to 5% of your account every month. And in the end, he went to jail. He lost his wife. He lost his child. He lost his best friend because he was paying the old customers with the new customers' money while he was learning how to trade. And so in spite of all of that, banks continued to earn record profits. They bought at the bottom of the recession. They shorted the housing market at the highs, and now they're shorting again. Well, how do we prove that they're doing what they're doing? Why should you believe my Facebook ad? Well, here's why. I built a machine that proves they do what they do. It incontrovertibly proves beyond all reasonable doubt that they cheat. And Fred, you've been here before. You know what I'm about to show you. I send this out to everyone who's not a customer on our mailing list every week. For the last 13 years, every Tuesday, if I have a pneumonia, if my favorite TV show is on, if my kids are having a meltdown, I waddle my chubby butt up the stairs and I send out the email and I pray that I'll reach somebody, that they'll look at this and say, hey, maybe something funky's going on. And so I send the forecasts out for the E-mini S&P, for crude, for gold, for the DAX, the euro currency, the Dow, the NASDAQ, the euro dollar and pound dollar. And I dare people to come back and see what happened at the times that we were expecting moves to occur. Now, what is the machine giving us? What do the 12,000 lines of code do to give us this information? Our software goes back into time historically and studies the market to find times where banks are pushing prices higher or lower, manipulation times. We stopped believing in Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy and unicorns. We started to believe that markets operated more like The Sopranos and Game of Thrones than Parks and Recreation. No, you can't apply intellect. It doesn't matter if you're a smart person. It doesn't matter how many gurus you pay money to or courses you've taken. Most customers we've met who are net profitable took 4 to 6 years and nearly $50,000 in losses and education to get to where they were. This is some nasty business. So last week, the software went historically into the past. And it came back on Tuesday with this answer. And it said, hey, for Thursday, remember, that's 36 hours in advance when I give it to you. These are the times that we're expecting selling pressure. Selling pressure, not necessarily a down move, but selling pressure. I'll explain in a second. And then all of the times on the bottom of the chart, 12,000 lines of code went back and found and said, there's a really good chance you'll experience buying pressure at these times on Thursday. Does everyone understand the concept of the tool that we've built for you? We track the cheaters. The software tells us when Tony Soprano goes out on his rounds and makes collections and shakes people down. It tells us when the algorithms and prop shops and JP Morgan sycophants push the price of the S&P higher and lower, push the prices of Apple and Bitcoin and Ethereum and the euro dollar and natural gas and oil up and down. When Elon's about to make a tweet, when the price of Twitter or Tesla is likely to go up or down. Now that's a pretty tall claim. How many of you would admit at home listening to me right now, the first time you heard me, you thought that is a heaping, steaming pile of dog malarkey? There's no way this can work. Well, I have 2 more hurdles to overcome and we'll get there. And maybe you'll have a different opinion of me when we get to that point. What we do is pretty simple. And we're going to take a look at the differences between buying pressure and up moves and selling pressure and down moves. If we're in an uptrend and we arrive at a selling pressure time, one of 2 things can happen when we arrive at that time. Jerry, in a strong uptrend, the market will go into a consolidation phase. what's known as a reaccumulation phase. And what's happening at that time is that people are selling at the high and taking profit, and other people who are trying to get in at the bottom are buying at the low of the consolidation range. So one thing that can happen at a selling pressure time in an uptrend is consolidation. Many of you ask, how do I know when the market's going to get choppy? This is one way to know if the market is going to get choppy. We look at contra times, selling times in an uptrend and buying times in a downtrend. Did you know you could know that in advance? Do you want to know that in advance? Because it's knowable. Then there's the second thing that can happen. It can start to actually go down. If it's the end of the trend, the market could actually reverse and go down. One thing to note, and we'll come back to this, consolidation periods, reaccumulation phases, they end eventually. And what happens? The market starts to continue to go higher. So sell times are brief pauses, usually with breakouts or reversals of trend that drop down. Any questions about that? In a downtrend, when we arrive at a sell time, they usually drop and fall away. Oops, forgive me. They usually drop and fall away. So a sell time can drop and fall away, or it can consolidate and break out. Same thing for a buying time. If we have an uptrend, buying times are great because the market is coming up and retracing and going up, and then we pull back to a buy time right here. And then it usually, Jerry, what does it do? It goes up. And so that's what we're expecting to see in an uptrend. In a downtrend, if we're falling and we arrive at a buy time, it'll do the same thing that a sell time used to do. It'll consolidate and then break away. So buying pressure can represent itself one of two ways: as a giant impulse move up or a quiet consolidation move with a drop. Does anyone have any questions about how those times can work? Okay. Now, before we get to what actually happened, I want you to see, where's my diagram for this? Stand by. When we get to these signals, I have trading rules. And Fred, you've seen this. Everybody comes back 2 or 3 times to see if it's still working, and it always keeps working. On the page that I gave you the forecasts for, I gave you a link to a video that explained the rules that I teach people, a very basic trend entry system. When we arrive in an uptrend at the buying pressure signals, I put a stop line 1.5 average true range values away from the candle. We enter at the close of the candle and we hold it until the next time. When I arrive at a buying pressure signal in an uptrend, my stop is 1.5 average true range values away from the low of the candle, and we exit at the opposite time. 1.5 ATR values on the close of the candle, exit at the opposite time. This is called a signal with trend. A signal with trend. We're adding a filter, in this case a 120 period moving average, to tell us what direction the market is moving. Now, it's lagging, I get that, but it's simple. And most of the people I've met that are using the software successfully are using simple, clean screens. Now, there's a variation of this called the crossover trade. If we arrive at a time below the moving average, and then the candle crosses over and closes above the moving average, my stop goes one tick under the crossover candle. I'm going to enter at the close of this one because now I'm above that moving average barrier. And I'm going to hold it until the next signal. So that's the variation of the signal with trend. When it eventually makes it over, then we can participate and hold it till the next time. And this happens quite frequently. And that'll work for selling signals as well as buying signals. We then have a signal called a puncture. A puncture. And a puncture is a failure with trend. Think of it like a breakout. When we arrive in this example at a selling pressure time, if you remember from my earlier example, I'm trying to identify when the consolidation is over. When is the profit taking over? And for me, that time mechanically is represented when we break or puncture the stop level of the selling time in an uptrend. So in this example, check it out. The candle closes. Jerry, it does not consolidate. It does not go down. The moving average is going up, so I'm looking for opportunities to purchase. And the minute it breaks through that blue line, I have a buy stop sitting there. It's a breakout. It's a failure with trend. There are no sellers here. If they were, we'd be down here or going lower, and they're not. It's still going higher. They are no longer selling at 9:30 this time. So when I place my contract long, when I buy, I have a higher degree of confidence that the people who usually sell now are not, for whatever reason. Then same way, I put my entry in and I hold it until the next time. My stop in this example would go one tick below the puncture candle. It's a lot like a crossover trade. Does everyone understand a puncture? It's a failure with trend. A puncture is a failure with trend. Now, one thing the promoters and the marketers never really talk about, they never really talk about that trading isn't about being right or wrong. It's a statistically relevant edge. It's a quarter that has one side a little heavier than the other. It doesn't flip 50-50. It flips 55 or 60 out of 100 times on heads. It's an edge. Any trading system, any trading tool must be, has to be, will always and should be described as a statistically relevant edge. So we know, for example, that equity curves in the real world don't look like this. That's not a real thing. How many of you have a trading system or a guru where that is the case every day, every week, every year? Bernie Madoff had an equity curve like that, and the guy I knew who went to jail had an equity curve like that. They don't exist. Most traders have an equity curve that looks like one of two. It goes like this, or it goes like this. That's most of the people, and I talk to about 1,000 a year, 13 years, 13,000 people. Most of them, when they find us, are either in a break-even stage, God bless them, or they're in a losing stage, most of them. A statistical edge in trading provides an equity curve that has three phases. It has a growth phase. It has a consolidation phase. It has a growth phase. It has a drawdown phase. This is what an equity curve in the real world with a positive expectancy looks like. So when the guy in the ad says, Bill made $50,000 in 6 weeks with my pull it out of my ass program, it's not real. I know that it's not real. I've studied and executed more trading systems than most of you in this room combined. Mark says the edge for a casino in blackjack is 2%. Their edge is 2% over you, and they make more money than 90% of people who come in. Exactly. So when the guy who writes Trading in the Zone speaks about this, Mark, he says very clearly, there's a couple things we have to keep in mind. There's no such thing as right or wrong or win or lose. When I see ads where someone is using words like winning and losing, 85% winning trades, no, you failed the smell test. Doesn't work. I know you're lying. I know you're cheating and ripping people off. It's a numbers game. The trade was either positive or negative. And if you looked at this example, which one of these trades was right or wrong? None of them. But the model has a positive expectancy, meaning it has a statistically relevant edge. And again, this is going to come back in a little while. We're going to see a growth phase. We're going to see a consolidation phase. And we're going to see drawdown phases. And next week, I'm actually going to go a little bit deeper with this. But I need to set you up for what we're learning right now. I want to be honest with you. I have to meet that burden of proof. So we have drawdown phases, we have growth phases, and we have plateaus. This is what a model with a positive expectancy looks like. So do the times provide a statistically relevant edge? Do they provide a positive expectancy? That's what we're here to figure out. You're not here to figure out if I make $5 billion a year. It's irrelevant. Maybe I can do something you don't know how to do. Maybe I have traumatic childhood issues that prevent me from placing trades with a tool that other traders can use. You're not here to see if I have a trophy wife or I can trade on the beach with a laptop, or in one video this morning, a guy was standing at the ocean. I don't know why, but these videos for the ads think if I see the ocean, I'll buy their software faster. You're here to see if this has a positive expectancy. That's the only important question on the table. Okay. So when we come back and we look, what happened at these times? And if we apply the simple trading system to those times, did it work? E-mini S&P 3-minute chart. E-mini S&P 3-minute chart. Now, so there are no shenanigan accusations. Take a look. 8:30, 8:30, 8:39, 8:39, 9:21, 9:45, 9:30, 10:27, and then 8:09. Would everyone agree that the times that I sent out to 18,000 people on our mailing list on Tuesday are the same times that I'm referencing today, 36 hours later? Would everyone agree that there's no way for me to cheat right now? There's no way a signal can disappear and reappear. There's no way a signal can appear later. There's no way a signal can change. What we said, the software said to look for, is here. That's the data we're working with. I can't change the settings and make it look good every week. I use the same settings every week, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. Okay, now, watch. Get ready. 8:09. 8:09 is a buying pressure signal. Close of the candle to the close of the 8:30 candle is a loss of $1.25. We then have a crossover candle, Luke. And at the time we were expecting a selling pressure signal, look what happened. It fell. Not because of my guru brain or my laptop on the beach. The market fell until 8:39, $100 of the ES. $1,200 per contract. Okay. Now, who knows what this was? What can we call this move? If we believe that the banks are really legal Tony Sopranos, that's right. We call this a legalized, a legalized stop run. Goldman Sachs cleared out all of the stops. JP Morgan cleared out all of the stops. Now let's keep adding up our signals. Ready? Short from 9:21 to 9:30, negative $2. Short from 9:45 until its stop is hit, negative $24. Crossover trade at 11:06. Stop one tick below the crossover candle, enter at the candle close. I hold that signal now from here to the close of the 11:15 signal. Positive $23, which cancels out my loss. Hang in there, Mike. Now we arrive at a selling pressure time and an uptrend. I'm looking for a failure with trend. At 11:15, my stop line is sitting at 607.5. I enter as it punctures through that blue line. My stop is one tick below the puncture candle right here. How long do I hold it for? I hold it until 11:30 for $15. We have a maximum favorable excursion of $35. I retain a third of it, a little more than a third. What do I do at 11:30? What do I do at 11:30? 11:30 is a signal with trend. My stop is 1.5 ATR values below the low. When do I exit? By the next selling signal. There's a window of time that I know in advance. And at 11:30, I hold the trade until 11:54 for another $26. And what happens at 11:54? At 11:54, the market goes into a consolidation range right here and then pulls back and drops down into 1221. Hey, that's kind of bananas. It's almost like every one of these times that I gave you in advance is doing the thing that I told you would happen. There's no puncture of the 11:54 signal. No trade. What do? Nothing. I make a sandwich. I walk my dog. Catch up on my Beverly Hills Housewives. Whatever you want to do. I don't care. And then earlier today, I try to rescue people like Morpheus in the Matrix. And I try to go out and prove to people that what I'm telling them is real, that I'm not using fancy marketing. And so I went to a Facebook page, E-mini S&P 500 traders, 3,200 people. And I said, here are the times. 5 hours ago, Eunice, 5 hours ago, I told people, this is what's coming. If it closes above this moving average, go long. I told them it was coming. And then I went back and I started posting other pictures. And I said, hey, it's working. Look, I got in a trade at 1220. It's working. I don't have one like. I don't have one comment. People don't want results. They want a guy standing on a balcony looking at the Atlantic Ocean, and his large, busty blonde wife walks over and kisses him on his cheek. That guy's the one who gets the orders. The orders that you come to me after and say, I wish I could buy your software, but I bought Balcony Guy's software first. Shame on all of us. Shame on all of us for giving these people oxygen in this universe. When are we going to learn? We get to 1221. It's a signal with trend. Closes the candle. 1.5 ATR stop. I exit at 1251. $23 move. No puncture of the 1251 candle. I enter at 112 and I exit by 130. It's a $20 move. The candles continue. Look, a stop. Oh, can't believe it. They're showing a stop. Oh my gosh. Minus $11. Puncture in the direction of the trend from the blue line to the white dot. $10.50. At 257, it goes up. Does it make our $500 break even? No, it does not make the $500 break even. It comes and it hits the stop again. What does it do at the end of the day? This bananas crazy day. Let's add it up. And Fred, you've seen me do this before. And yet you're back again. We can't use the 100. I can say minus 1.25, minus 2.25, minus 24.5, plus 22.75, plus 15, plus 26, plus 23, plus 19, minus 11, plus 10.5, minus 14. For the entire US session, we end up with $64 in ES potential times $12.50 per contract. It's an $800 day. If you're trading with a micro account, that's $80 per contract. Any questions? Because it didn't just happen on the ES. It happened on the YM today and did the same thing. It happened on the pound dollar. The pound dollar today, if you were long at the signal on the 30-minute chart, you knew how long, and there are 169 ticks available to you. It happened on oil futures. Same thing, same moves at the time. It happened on the Apple chart. If you trade equities intraday like Apple or Tesla or Nvidia or AMD, any of these markets, they're doing the same thing. I trade options intraday. Why don't you have the software? Options are based on time. Why are you using non-timed tools to trade a timed instrument? We're the only company, by the way, that uses time. If you're trading options without a time indicator, it's like cooking without a pan. Here, I'll hold the spaghetti over the flame with my hands. Why? Why are you doing that? Okay. Now, how many burdens of proof have we met so far? Well, one. I gave you the times in advance. The signals worked at the times that we were expecting them to work. Number two, what does this do over time? The program that we're talking about is called the Warp, TachEon Warp in our product line. So everything that we're spending the majority of our time on today is focused on our flagship product, TachEon Warp, right here. Warp gives us the times in advance. It tells us the direction in advance for any market in any time frame. E-mini S&P, natural gas, silver, platinum, wheat futures, Apple, Tesla, Nvidia, Q, SPX, SPY, euro, dollar, pound, dollar, yen, Swiss franc, whatever you're looking at, ruble, peso, doesn't matter. Warp is the program that everyone is using. Now, there's a plugin that we make for Warp called Aurora. If you're a customer here today and you don't have Aurora, listen up. It's not something you need, but I'm going to use it to break over a second hurdle. Aurora is a testing module, an optimizing module that says, hey, can we test these signals over time without using an Excel spreadsheet? So, for example, if I come and I look at Aurora on another workspace, I'm now asking the software to test the signals over time. So Fred, take a look right here. You'll see signals in the direction of the trend that I've asked the software to go look at. And it's tested it for me. It's entering at the close of the candle. And then can everyone see on this chart? There's a yellow triangle right here. I've asked the software to go back and test all of my signals with trend using the Aurora plugin. And I've given it a pretty big job. In fact, look at when I've told it to check the signals. Go back and look from 9:45 to 12:30. Let's just look at the morning session of the E-mini S&P. 9:45 to 12:30. Now, when I do that, I want you to see my settings are the same. So look right here where the settings are for the test that I'm doing. 7:14 is my look back. 8 is my swing strength. If I go back to the chart that we were just referencing, I want you to see that my settings are the same. Come on, pull up here. What are you doing? I will show you all the settings on this chart. They're not coming up. There we go. See where it says 7:14 here, Fred? All the charts on here are 7:14. Well, if I go back on this chart and I test all of the values for the last 6 months, it gives me an output. And it says, hey, here's your output. And I brought all of that data to this Excel spreadsheet. Now, what does an accurate equity curve look like? What does a model with a positive expectancy look like? It looks like this. A model with a positive equity curve, a positive expectancy, has growth phases, plateaus, and drawdowns. So Fred, over 6 months, look, here's the data. October 13th, 2022, until when? April 25th, 2022. Here are all the signals output directly from the software. The model has a positive expectancy. Now here's what's bananas. I ran a couple tests today using the same signal settings. If I go to 12:30, it's 2,672 pips. If I stop at 11:30, when I normally stop personally, I only get to 1,800 pips. So adding an extra hour of life, an extra hour of trading to this, brings me to 2,600 as opposed to 1,800. Almost 800 ticks, or almost $1,000 more over 6 months with one contract. So 2,600 ticks times $12.50 is a hypothetical 32,500. Multiply that times 85%. That's $27,625 since April. April, May, June, July, August, September. That's about 6 months. Divided by 6 is about $4,600 per month. Divided by 4 is $1,151 per week per contract. Using signals that were entirely predictive, that were available in the future. We weren't sitting at the computer all day wondering when the next signal would appear. And I have more time to not post pictures on a balcony with a laptop. I can actually go to the balcony. Now here's where it gets even weirder. When you have the ability to test, I started testing different 15-minute segments. This is 15 minutes a day. And I want you to see my test starts October 26th, 2021. And it runs all the way to yesterday when the last signal appeared. This is trading 15 minutes a day. 15 minutes a day with one contract. And it's presently at $627. Do the math. 627 times 1250 times 0.85 is $6,000 divided by 11 months is $605 a month divided by 4 is $151 for 15 minutes a day. If you do that as an hourly wage, you're making $605 an hour using signals that are what? Based entirely on a prediction. Look, these times are waiting for us in the future. I know 648 and 648, 736, 757. I have the times waiting for me in the future. That's one thing none of the other vendors can give you. They can't give you the times in the future. So there's my second burden of proof. There's my second burden of proof. Now, the guy who teaches you when I'm not here, he just passed an Apex Combine. They're letting him trade a $250,000 account. This is a real P&L for his Combine. How many of you see the plateaus, the drawdowns, drawdown, drawdown, little drawdown, drawdown? What else do we see? We see growth phase, growth phase, growth phase, growth phase. What else do we see? We see plateaus and plateaus. Here's the third barrier of proof. The guy who teaches you when I'm not here, he's doing it. And other companies like Apex Investing are giving him their money to trade. Third burden of proof. What's the fourth burden of proof? The fourth burden of proof is right here. Any customer who buys the software can go into a Trustpilot account, open it up, and leave a review. And everyone's leaving 4- and 5-star reviews. It's the real deal. Good people, great software, such accuracy. I've been a customer for a long time. You have found the best tools. I've managed to make more than I purchased the software for. Since joining, everything has been swift in setting up, no questions unanswered, one-on-one session. Everything's working great. I can't delete a single one of these. The only thing I can do is react to it. I can log in and say, hey, thanks. Or how can I help you? Every one of these is a verified purchase. Every one. That's the fourth burden of proof. And imagine, not one picture of a trophy wife on the beach. Jerry, there's an announcement coming out Saturday or Friday night. That exactly. That's Optimus. And a very small group of people will have a chance to participate in it. It's ready. Phase 1 of Optimus is complete and ready. Yeah. So yeah. I have the cure for trading cancer. And yet, no one comments on my posts. And that's another question. Why? Because people don't believe in the real world. They believe in unicorns and fairies and leprechauns. I'm a smart, successful entrepreneur, Michael. I should be able to use my knowledge and know-how and stick-to-itiveness to figure this out. I'm journaling in my trade journal every day. That's good for you. You could be a writer when you're finished. Michael, I have a Pentium 7 with overclocked CPU at 4.5 gigahertz from Falcon Trading Computers. Excellent. You can play solitaire very fast. Michael, my guru, has an English accent, and he's from Wales. And he says he's been trading for 136 years. He's actually a Highlander and has cut several thousand people's heads off. Well, how are you doing in your account? I haven't figured it out yet, but I just purchased their Platinum program. Oh, okay. Every call is almost always the same. Every call. I want you to hear this. I want to tell you the truth so that at the end of it all, you can say, at least one guy told me the truth. I would love to purchase, but I, A, just lost $10,000 in a Tesla long. B, just spent $7,000 with another company, and I can't get a refund because I signed an NDA. That's a true story. Stan, I just did a webinar on Aurora. I just did one. Here's the link. I did it this week. Hang on. I'll get it for you. I got you covered, Stanley. Stanley, here's the recording from it. Let me know if you got that. This is the reality of the world that we live in. Paula went back to work. She teaches kids, and they lost $20,000. Her husband blew out his $200 account. And now I'm not sure what he's doing. The other guy that I spoke to, he and his best friend, his partner, went to jail, federal jail. People in their church lost their retirement savings. The pastor, oddly enough, made a bunch of money. He never got in trouble. That part always bothered me. The primary guy got divorced. He lost custody of his kid. I don't know what happened to him after 6 or 7 years. And so I know what the rules of this game are. I know what the rules of this game are. I'm going to show you the rules. Ready? There it is. That's what you're up against. You don't need a marketer. You don't need a guru. You don't need a journal or a forum membership or a Discord login. You need an engineer. Steve Jobs didn't make the iPhone or the iPod. You know who made those things happen? Engineers made those things happen. An engineer at DARPA made the internet work. Al Gore didn't invent the internet. Engineers build things that people use to have an edge, an advantage. An engineer built the gigapress at the Tesla factory in Austin, Texas. Thousands of pounds of pressure, essentially making matchbox cars one at a time, where it used to take days to weld together frames for cars. An engineer built that. So what's the problem here? Well, nobody's making money trading. Well, it seems like everyone who's losing is using a lagging indicator, is following a guru, is part of a Discord or a forum. And the engineer turns to the other engineer and says, why don't we not do that? Well, what do we do instead? Well, if we look at the problem, why don't we trade when Goldman trades? Can we use order flow for that? No, because they're spoofing. It's not real. It's an illusion. Well, how do we measure when they move? Let's look at the times they push the markets up and down. And if we do that over and over and over and over and over again, if we do that over and over and over and over and over again, when the market is falling and falling and falling, or choppy and consolidated, while your 401k has been dropping and your retirement account has been falling, this default setting TimeWarp setup has been getting bigger and bigger and bigger. This is part one. To participate in part two, you kind of need the software for part one. And so if you're interested in moving forward, Fred, I'm speaking to you and anyone who's come to the webinar before. If you want a statistically relevant trading edge, validated across 4 spectrums, customers who've qualified for a $250,000 funded account with an actual output for reference, customers who've left 4- and 5-star reviews over the years we've been a member of an actual verified customer review process, live signals in live markets 36 hours later, and a validated test of those signals across 6 months to a year. If you choose to not move forward with this, I can't help you. You're giving oxygen and air to the people who are destroying the lives of traders today. I'm going to put a link into your GoToWebinar chat box. It's a link to the software. We're looking at the TachEon Warp program. It's our flagship product. It works across all markets and time frames on NinjaTrader. Well, I use TradingView. I don't care if you drive a Ford Fiesta. This is Android, not Apple. You're going to have to change a few things. Change is good. Sometimes a lot of us need change. Well, it's a deal breaker for me if it's not in Sierra charts. Well, you're going to have trading cancer the rest of your life. I can't get a cancer drug in a blue container. It's got to be yellow. All right. If that doesn't matter to you, I've just put the link to the software in the top of the screen. And it doesn't matter if you like me. I don't care if you like me. I hope you do, but I don't care. I want you to be successful. I build tools that help people be successful. I get off on it. I love it. 4-star review, 5-star review. I run downstairs like a little kid on Christmas. My wife rolls her eyes after 13 years. The bottom of the page is the buy now link. If you want to buy the software, you can click the buy now button. You go to the checkout. There's a place to put a promo code. The promo code is WARP OFF. WARP OFF. Takes $500 off. What? Why am I giving money away? Because I want it to be affordable. I showed you a, what is it, $800 day today in the ES in one day. I took pictures of my trades today. At one point at 12:20, I was up $687 in one trade. One trade. Well, your software is real expensive. Can I have a trial? No, I gave you 2 days of a trial for 13 years. How's the free trial circuit working out for everybody? I love when people say free trial. It's like trying to survive on the little weenies at Costco every Sunday. Well, they're giving out free weenies at Costco. Not paying you for a meal. Okay, don't. But if you do, it's $2,000. Hey, let's use the psychological trick. It's only $19.95 after the promo code. I showed you a system in theory that generates $7,000 one time a day in a 15-minute window. Oh my gosh. You're going to get 2 computer licenses, Fred. You're going to get free installation. You're going to get free video archive training. And you have access to our mentors. We have 4 people on staff that do training for people. Customers who are live trading the software are live trader. My partner, Ron, I'll even train you if you want. Okay? No additional costs or fees for Warp. I'm sure I'm forgetting something, but I'll put my undying gratitude. Oh, this is a lifetime license. So you never have to ask for anything else. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, Luke. I appreciate all of you. That's available if you want it. You can use your PayPal account. You can use PayPal Pay Later. You can get it all at one time. Any questions? If you're an existing customer, you've heard about Aurora, you see what's happening, and you want to participate in that program, you let me or David know. Anyone here today who's a Warp user that wants to know more about Aurora, just let me know. Everything I did in the second half of the webinar today was directed to you. You don't need it, but if you're ready to plug in something that blows it up, it's available. All right, guys, ladies. I set out today to have an honest conversation with you. I wanted you to understand where we're coming from. We produce a statistically relevant trading edge that has a positive expectancy over time. Our customers have rated us 4.9 out of 5. The alternate trainer qualified for a $250,000 account with a prop shop, his 4th or 3rd in as many months' time, I believe, using the signals. I gave you the times 2 days before the webinar and showed you a simple trading system that you could apply to the system to see what would happen 2 days later. No way to change it, fake it, curve fit it. And in one of the markets, the most popular one, I don't care, it could be Apple, it could be Ethereum, it doesn't matter. We showed gain after gain after gain and a net positive theoretically on the day. And then I showed you what that signal does over and over and over again for the past year. No fancy marketing, no pretty boy face, no form-fitting t-shirt and slim Apple laptop on the West Palm Beach coast. Just a guy with an engineering degree who builds stuff that people use to make money. Join me next week. We'll continue this conversation. I want to go one additional step with you and show you something really cool that you can apply to reduce your drawdowns and have more confidence when you trade the signals live. We're going to take that same data that we developed here today and go one additional step with it. And I think I'm going to blow a lot of minds here. So if you're interested in Aurora, let me or David know. If you're interested in Warp and you want to get started with us, get your feet on a firm foundation, Fred, today is your day. I hope we can move forward with you and find a way to get you started. May the wind be at your back. May the sun shine upon your beautiful, handsome faces. May the valleys of adversity rise up to meet us all in a world with constant uncertainty and violence and shifting sands every minute, pandemics and wars and annexations and depressions and energy crises and inflation. It's hard, but I think we're being made stronger by it. Now is the time to band together. May the mountains before us lay low, our paths smoothed as we move forward together as a family, as a community of users. You have my undying gratitude and gratefulness. Thank you so much for your support over the last 13 years. We will not stop developing the best trading tools in the industry for futures, forex, equities, options, and crypto traders. You have my word. Take care, everyone. Have a great night. The recording will be available here shortly. If you're a customer and you want to see it again, email me. Otherwise, if you're not a customer, the recording will be coming to your email if you've given us permission to send it to you, probably in the next few hours. Have a great day, everyone. I love you. Thank you. You know how I feel about you. Take care. Have a great night.